Hello, this is a Scorpio Moon reading, and you can take this however you'd like. Kind of going quick, just getting quick into it because we've been doing these readings. You can check out all the other ones too. The way I see this, the way I feel the messages are coming in is this is more like a timing message for you. So check out the next time when you see this, check out the next time the moon's going to be in Scorpio, and that is kind of timing for this message. It's a prediction for the short-term future for you. What Scorpio moon energy is cagey. I don't have to tell you anything. It's very much Colin, the cat here, is he's very Scorpio, and he is in a mood today, and he's being this kind of cagey like this. I don't have to tell you anything. What was the sign that got careful who you tell something to? That was I think it was right before, I think it was Aquarius, like careful who you share info with. Aquarius moon energy can learn a thing or two from Scorpio. I won't tell you anything. Again, the Six of Swords keeps coming up in like all the readings, so there's something. The Three of Wands is kind of more reminiscent of the earlier readings. So Gemini, Taurus, Pisces, Leo. You've made a decision to abandon a mission. It was basically like, well, you have to do something. I either move forward or I leave the trail. And I feel like there was something like just giving up on something, even though you could see that it was something. You thought it was best for somebody if you didn't pursue. If you didn't complete it, if you didn't finish it, it was best for somebody else. Right. And it's also, it's like just a little bit less. It would be worse to keep going than it is to, you might be resonating with this, a message about somebody you broke things off with or somebody you kind of gave up on. Ooh. Hopefully it'll hurt a little less. Just so you know. I don't know. I kind of wanted to say, Scorpio, but we're not directly speaking to Scorpios, although we could be. But I guess the idea here is maybe Scorpio energy still has this lesson to learn a little bit. So maybe we're getting a bit of a preliminary. Keep in mind in the stuff that we're about to read is what this feels like. The Scorpio energy tends to have this understanding of things that it's best that they're not involved. Like people are just slightly better off if they don't pursue things. So there's always this kind of flighting urge or there's always a justification to leave the situation because there's always an understanding in Scorpio energy that it's kind of some things are like most things are best left unmeddled by Scorpio energy. It's kind of self-loathing. Keep in mind that there's a bit of self-loathing in this energy. That's what I'm seeing. First message, keep in mind. Dreamer of Pentacles, that's the first time I've gotten that card. Again, about money. Money. And the Two of Wands. There's an investment. So this might be about an investment that you have. The Moon Chariot. To go somewhere. Maybe you have made an investment. Or maybe somebody has made an investment. Or they imagine they've made an investment. Or based on the level of investment they have. Yes, that's what it is. Based on their level of investment. Their initial offerings. They imagine and that you're going to leave. Wow. And this is just in this time. So people fluctuate in their feelings of what's about to happen and what they imagine. So I'm just picking up that there's maybe somebody who's a bit worried that they're not enough for you. And in the Scorpio energy, it's so easy to imagine, especially if you do resonate with a lot of Scorpio energy when the moon's in Scorpio. It's just a little bit extra. It's just a little bit easier for people to imagine that you're going to bail, that you're going to bolt, that you're going to go off in some self-loathing kind of, you're better off without me kind of thing. Maybe it's not an all the time thing. Maybe it's just, in particular times when the Scorpio energy is activated in the feeling space, because it's a dream. It's what you imagine. It's what you're, they would have like maybe a dream about you taking off, and then their head would get filled with ideas about, it would just be that energy flows freely in this time. Judgment. It's for sure. It quickly escalates into for sure you're leaving. There's somebody who's very, very worried that you're about to take off, that you're not going to stick around. That's in some regard. It could be romantic, but I'm also sensing like, keep in mind that the people around you, just everyone around you, and everything around you is going to be affected by this energy. When the moon is in Scorpio, there is just generally a sense of security in your presence, because it's just a lot easier to imagine a Scorpio storyline playing out. So you might not even resonate as somebody who would ever think along these lines, and so it might not make sense to you that there's somebody who's imagining that, you're going to do that kind of thing where you imagine everybody's better off without you, or something. You may have said something that sparks this, because dreams tend to be based on things that you've heard in the, immediate kind of past. There's usually some kind of a indication, you say like, oh, I had a dream about that, but my brain turned it into, like, you could, have a conversation with somebody about renovating bathrooms or something, and in your waking hours, and then in the night you're having a dream about something weird, that has to do with like renovating bathrooms. That's a weird, I just looked, there's a bathroom over there that needs renovation. So and it's like, I don't know, there's something that I see frequently on the side of the road, and I see if I'm driving, and there's somebody put a toilet at the side of the road, like a used toilet. It's like, who would pick that up? Are they thinking that anybody wants that? Like, I have these thoughts, right? So then maybe I would have a dream after having a conversation, and I try to go through it in my mind. I go like, oh, well, I guess like, contractors might be tempted. They go and check it out, and it might save them a bit of money on parts if they were to convince, a little good scam to run is to go get used stuff and shop it as new stuff. Or even, to save people money if people don't mind. So then I just kind of, that's where my mind goes when I'm seeing those things that don't make sense to me. I want to make sense of it, and then furthermore, I might make sense of it in a dream, or I might have my brain might just have that incomplete thought there, and I might just kind of turn that into I can't even think of a dream. It's so funny. I'm drawing a blank to think of how my dreams would interpret that. It would just be something like maybe just walking into somebody's house and they have a whole lot of used toilets all in their living room. I don't know. Or something weird like that. Like, why are they, and they're using them as couches because, I don't know, something like that. Somebody in the chat said could use the toilet at some sketchy gas station bathroom. Right, yeah. I'm answering. This deck is called the Dream Tarot, the Mystical Dream Tarot. The box. I'll show you in a minute once we're done this. The Six of Wands. Oh, just so you know, there's a live going on right now too. So you have like you're hearing me conversing with the chat at some points. The Six of Wands has been following us around. Like it's definitely the card of the day. You have maybe been nice and protected from somebody's kind of more paranoid thoughts that they have for whatever reason they have them, that can't really say that makes sense that they have them, but people have these kind of thoughts, and people are influenced by these kind of thoughts sometimes, and it's like they don't bring it up to you, or they don't mention it to you, maybe because it's just a dream. I just had somebody might have a dream that you take off or that you leave, and they might have a certain feeling space about it because you wake up from a dream and you can't shake it. But they might not tell you about it because, it's just a dream, and that's kind of messed up, that dream. And they have to kind of process it, and they might not you might not need to. You don't have to look inside their dreams to understand that everybody has these weird things going on, right? We can see from our own experience, from the comfort of our own experience, that sometimes some of these things, some of these weird thoughts that come up have nothing to do with anything, and it's just our brain trying to make sense of things that we haven't fully made sense of yet. And also they can be messages, like we can get dreams and they're prophetic. Have you ever been in a situation and thought to yourself, wait, I think I dreamt this? Oh, somebody's saying they can see the heat wave of the candle. Yeah, this camera is already melted from, I brought the candle closer to the camera once and it melted the side of the camera. So the sun and the moon. I think you're going to encounter somebody who's just a bit upset, but they can't really explain why. And along the lines of why someone would be afraid of something, there's something like you're going to notice that somebody's a little bit down and out, and you might want to ask them why. I think there's just somebody who just needs to get a bit of sunlight and needs that energy to dissipate. Sometimes we have strange happenings. We get dreams that stick with us and we feel a bit off, and we can't shake something. There's something about just taking them out into the sun and sunning them out, drying it out, and seeing if they need to talk about something after a while. There was the vibe did switch when we got to Capricorn, Virgo, Scorpio. The vibe switched to you being kind of in a position of service to others, or in a listening position. And what I would say is, for this case, at this particular time, if you're resonating as somebody who's being called in to kind of be a good listening ear for somebody at the very least, if not somebody who's going to guide someone who's going through a hard time. Some hard times are just kind of they do sort themselves out. And it's a good idea to just, if somebody's kind of giving you strange vibes in and around a time like this, just to let them have their strange vibes and be in a position of readiness, but at the same time, accept that sometimes stuff just kind of dissipates. And it doesn't mean that they're not dealing with something, or, Dreamer of Wands. This looks like hangry energy. So when somebody's hangry and they're they can't explain to you why they're mad. They're just mad, and there's just nothing you do is right. And then you just have you eaten yet today? And they'd say, no, I haven't had anything to eat yet, but I'm so mad at you. How could I eat when I'm so mad at you? You're like, well, let's go get something to eat. And then, I'm sorry for, just be I'm sorry. I know I'm being impossible and I'm making you angry. Why don't I go get you something to eat? Come back, have something to eat. And then it's oh, and it's only until after they eat that they go, oh, I was just hungry. Sorry about that. And it just sorts itself out in that way if you just kind of give someone space. There's an indication that somebody just needs that kind of space. Just pay attention to their needs, or, is there hunger? Have they not gotten sunlight in a little while? Maybe they just need to go outside. We have our more basic needs, and sometimes your role as that really deep supportive listener is to kind of look for the more simple things as well. That's what I feel. So if you're being called to, be of service to someone in a hard time, Ace of Pentacles, it's an opportunity for you to empathize from the comfort of your own home. The Scorpio vibes. We get an impression in the Scorpio moon that there's this depth to things that needs to be explored. And we are tempted to go to these depths because it feels like it doesn't do it justice if we don't. And your message for the Scorpio moon coming up, whichever one that is, just take a look, is don't forget it's a Scorpio moon. Don't forget how Scorpio energy can be a bit self-loathing, like it's probably best if I just get out of your way because you're upset, it's probably best that you'll be better off without me, we'll get this kind of, whininess about us. No offense to any Scorpio people who identify strongly with Scorpio. Nine of Pentacles. Yes, people are supposed to take care of their own needs. Yes, they are. At the same time, we all forget, and from the comfort of your own home, there can be an empathy or a forgiveness for somebody who just forgot to eat. There can be a forgiveness for somebody who didn't realize they were just hangry. Leave lots of room for that in this coming up Scorpio moon. It might save you a lot of trouble. It might prevent a lot of unnecessary conflict between you and someone. I've been trying to take it into the workplace energy, although now the draw for that is a bit less. I wonder if it's because I'm kind of past the work day in my time zone. It's really fun to say that there's something special coming up. You might already resonate as somebody who is this person to somebody. You notice that they're out of sorts, and you might not follow or track the moon, but you might kind of recognize it's a bit cyclical. Like, every once in a while they get like this. And you might have already developed the instinct with the Two of Wands to recognize that there's just a weirdness about them that kind of comes and goes. They get like this, and maybe instinctively you've kind of learned to just kind of focus on their simpler needs in a time like this. And this might be the first time that they become aware, before they feel better, what you two are up to. That you may be a caretaker in a way to somebody who we all become incapacitated by our own, I'm thinking of it's not necessarily, I don't feel that people are incapable, but when they have like certain conditions, but I'm thinking about, there's something that my mom said to me once, and it really opened my eyes. And I share this fact a lot on this experience a lot on the channel because it's so relevant so many times. My mom, before she was officially diagnosed with diabetes, she told me this a long, long time ago, and it stuck with me. And she didn't know, the way she put it. And so then she started getting treated for it, and her whole life turned up around, or at least everything changed, right? It was a big change. And what she said in that moment is that she didn't know, the main symptom was confusion. But she didn't have the ability to detect her own confusion because she was confused. And it wasn't until someone intervened, or it wasn't until, it would take, somebody being confused and someone getting frustrated with that, or it causing problems for somebody to even go to a doctor and say, hey, I'm having this confusion. It doesn't really make sense, but people are telling me, and then I'm noticing that I'm, dropping the ball here and there. And then, they do the tests, they find out, oh, you have diabetes. That's why. Okay. And you get this treatment system going. And all of a sudden, as soon as you start feeling better, then you become aware of what was going on. So this is a message for somebody in particular. If you notice that somebody's acting really strange and confused, look to things like blood sugar and stuff like that, because it really does have maybe they do literally need to eat, or maybe they need insulin, or whatever it is that they need, right? But there's something else. Like, what stuck with me is her saying, I didn't know I was confused because I was confused. So my own symptom was preventing me from detecting my own symptom. And we can know from our own experience that we've all had had moments where we weren't able to detect our own state. And kind of the last thing you need to hear in that moment is somebody telling you that you are that state. And sometimes the first thing you need in that moment is just for somebody to, take the wheel and say, hey, let's go try getting something to eat. Not even because this will make you feel better or this will make us better. A little more like there's a care that needs to be given on this day to someone in this way. And maybe there's an awareness that someone has over time. If you develop that kind of caregiving relationship with somebody, they can learn to trust you more in that regard. Maybe they won't depend on you in that regard, although there's nothing wrong with people depending on you if that's what you're offering and it's something that they need. I'm seeing something like this next time this happens, they have an awareness that you mean well before they even feel better. And that's a big step. Cool vibes, Scorpio. I was a bit worried, Scorpio vibes. Scorpio moons are usually a wash for me. Just don't worry about it. Just hunker down, go to sleep. Things will be better in a couple days. 8 of Cups. And can you imagine what you missed out on? Had you seen from your little perspective there, your little window into somebody who was acting very strange, if you thought that this was the time best for you to get out of their way? It's not so much that you missed out on an opportunity to help somebody through a time. It's that you missed out on an opportunity to experience someone being aware that you mean well before they even feel better. There's a chance to bond really deeply with somebody. Don't pass up this opportunity, is kind of what the cards are saying. Or more so, just be aware of what you're getting yourself into when you consider it to be better for someone else if you get out of the way. Do you know how loved you are? Do you know how much they appreciate? And I wonder if they're even going to express that they appreciate it. Like I wouldn't expect much because usually, like my mom said, I didn't know I was confused because I was confused. So until you solve the main cause, like they're not going to figure it out. But this is somebody who's learning to trust you anyway. So yeah, I won't keep repeating it. It seems like it's worth repeating though, this message over and over again. So maybe listen to it again. Maybe there's something to go through here and really understand about your role in someone's life, because there's something that's really developing. I really like the feel of this. Feels like somebody's really learning how to depend on you. And that's a beautiful thing in a day and age where we are so discouraged from depending on anyone. We're so encouraged to go through everything independently before we expose it to others. I could go on a rant there, but I won't. That's what you come to the live stream for. When you come to the live stream, you get the rants too. I'm going to leave it there, and you can definitely check out the other readings if you'd like for more predictions for timing. And also if you have placements in your chart that you're curious about having a reading about. I'm labeling them moon readings though, because that's the message I got. Thanks so much for being here. Come check out the stream if you'd like to. And I hope you have a lovely day.